I bought my first tarot deck when I was in college, and for over 40 years, this was the only deck that I ever used. I don't use it for reading very often. The cardstock is very worn, and some of the cards are bent. But it remains so dear to me and is actually my most prized possession here in my parlor. I even sometimes think it smells like college, but I think that's probably just a good smell memory, like my Pabst pipe. The book that came with the deck, and I want to show you that the deck was just called the Tarot. It was actually published by a company called Hoi Polloi Incorporated in New York, and they did it for like 2 years, maybe 3. I don't think so. I think just maybe 2 years. It was a knockoff of the Rider-Waite. As you can see, the imagery is very similar to the Rider-Waite. In most cases, the colors are different, of course, but they were forced to desist as they did not have rights to these images. Okay, but the book that came with it, as I was saying, is a miserable book. It's kind of better looking than the little white books. It looks promising. It has this beautiful parchment paper, etc. But inside, it's kind of a mess. It's kind of a mess. It's kind of a drugged mess, if I might say. Well, we'll talk about that maybe another time. But this is worthless. This was really worthless. But after many years of trying, using my intuition, using some of the experiences that I had with the cards, and also doing a lot of research into the subject matter of trying to read the tarot, I started to associate a meaning with each card. And I learned how the message of the card changed depending on what the position was in the spreads that I used, and also depending on the questions that I was asking the cards in the first place. Okay, from that point on, it should have been smooth sailing, right? But then YouTube happened. I wanted desperately to fit into the YouTube community here, so I bought deck after deck, tried spread after spread. I published probably 200 tarot videos, which is nearly half of all of my videos here on YouTube, teaching how I use my cards to work with the elements, to read the energies, to chart forecasts for specific time periods, communicate with the dead, and enhance my spells. I took on students and did both public and private tarot readings. I felt I deserved a seat at the cool kids table in the lunchroom. And I had also become a full-fledged member of the SLWBH, the Society of the Little White Book Haters. Years ago, I have a video that I put up that told exactly how I felt about that little white book that comes with so many tarot decks. I haven't changed my mind too much about the little white book, I have to say, but I thought you might enjoy this clip. This is a Writer Pocket Edition, little pack, and in with the cards, there will be a little book, right? One of these. And this has all the meanings, and it might even offer a few spreads in the back, I'm not sure, but these things, if you were ever trying to learn how to read the tarot using these little books, you would go absolutely crazy. First of all, I can't read this, too small. You might be lucky and find something a little bigger. But then you look up, okay, what is the meaning of this card? Okay, here we go. According to this, here's for one card. It means fatigue, long-term commitment, great effort, excessive spirit of protection, and preservation. Now, I don't know about you, but that means nonsense to me. That's just a bunch of gobbledygook. Just a bunch of adjectives. They find adjectives and they put them in the book, and now whatever. They put in a bunch of little words in. You just can't tell up or down. So, those books are stupid. In my opinion, they're stupid. Greetings. Welcome to Crone House. After all of these years here on YouTube, probably 13 years, I believe, maybe even a little longer, I have finally come to understand that something has changed for me. That something has changed for me about how I feel about tarot. I can't recall exactly when it happened, but I know there is a certain card that sort of was instrumental in beginning the change for me. And I mentioned that several times to you here on the channel, on other videos, and I want to tell you what it is now. And that was from the Wildwood Tarot, and that was the Three of Arrows. The Three of Arrows. And in the Wildwood Tarot, the arrows are the same. They stand for the swords, which we would find in the Rider-Waite version. But it's basically, you know, the same card. Three of Swords, Three of Arrows, Three of Swords. Okay. And what was so interesting, what caught my attention on this card, I don't know if you can see it, but where the arrows have pierced the heart, the wooden heart that is hanging on the tree, blood is dripping down from those piercings, dripping down the tree, landing on the ground. You can see them there on the ground. And the idea is the blood from the piercings is feeding the roots of the tree. We are receiving something from these disappointments, something from the heartaches that we have in life. There's something that we get out of them that helps us become who we are going to be. There is not just an insulated heartache or disappointment or something that comes up in the reading. There's a reason it is there. What is the reason? And this really changed me in a way I can hardly describe, because it started a whole new journey for me with tarot, I think. And the other thing I want to say about this Wildwood Tarot deck, I love it so much, is it forced me, literally forced me, to look in this book. And it has a pretty nice book that comes with it. It's a little abbreviated with some of the meanings, some of the descriptions of the card, a little abbreviated, but it's much better than a little white book for sure. But what this deck did, this deck forced me to put my eyes inside this book, because the core cards, first of all, are animals. Well, we love animals, and if we see a fox, we know the characteristics of a fox and how that might apply to a certain card. We get that. But what in the holy heck is a stout? A stout. What's a stout? I don't know what a stout is. I don't know what a stout is. I had to look it up. The Page of Bows, which is the Page of Wands in this deck, is represented by the stout. There was a reason for this, and I was going to find out what reason this author had for representing that card with a stout, whatever that was. Oh, okay, we found a good reason to have different tarot decks. Yes, the illustrations on a lot of our decks are very captivating, and some people just like those illustrations, or they collect the decks just because of their collectability, or sometimes they are in line with another hobby that they have, or another interest that they might have. But those people, I think, are actually missing the point of the decks. I have some decks that I think are kind of really weird, very kind of weird decks that I don't even like to read very much, but they give me some insights that have been very helpful to me in my practice. They offer me a complexity to the meaning that I already had. You know, I strutted my stuff around here being one of those cool kids who knew the meaning to the cards. And I know some people like that who just, they know what the cards mean, so they can read any deck in the world. Well, yes, you can, but you're kind of missing the point. How can you get to the point? Look in the book. Look at the book. See what was the author's intent in making the deck in the first place. You know, at least give them that. You know how hard it is to make a tarot deck, and I don't even go there. I want to say. But the other thing that's very encouraging to me is even decks, like some of my favorite decks, like here's my cat eye deck. You know, I have this cat eye deck that I really like a lot. Surprisingly, I didn't think I ever would. Came with a little white book. It's a little white book that I just kind of tossed aside, really, in the beginning, initially. And then all of a sudden, I started looking in the book. And yes, it's very, very abbreviated. but it's quite useful. It's not like the white deck, the white books that came with decks in the past. This is improved. And here's a card. This is a card I wanted to tell you about. Here's just one. This I just pulled it at random, actually. Here's what is this? The Page of Cups. I pulled it because this is my little Benno. I have a little black and white tuxedo like this. One of my newly acquired cats is a tuxedo. His name is Benno, and he's quite patient. He's not quite the one like this one in this deck. But what I want to say is this: what it says in this little white book. Very, very short. Look, very, very, very short. Very short little paragraph about it. But it helps you to understand the card. Yes, there's key words, but the key words apply to the cat. Be emotional. Be intuitive. Be intimate. Be loving. Okay, that gives you some kind of meaning right away, doesn't it? But then it talks about the kitten, and it says this sweet little kitten sits on the arm of a plush red sofa. He is shy but loving. He speaks when spoken to and will happily climb into the lap of a person he feels he can trust. He only wants a safe home and a loving relationship. In a reading, this card is an invitation to trust your feelings and give love and intimacy a chance to enrich your life. Well, that's pretty lovely, and that's pretty useful information. It's not maybe useful in all readings, but it gives you, it's a start. It's a start. It's another dimension to maybe a meaning that you already had. So when you see it, you can maybe remember little Benno when you see the Page of Cups, and you'll have another depth of understanding of the card. But for this to happen, read the book. 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 Okay, I admit it. When I get a new deck, I'm usually in a big hurry to just jump in and start reading it. I don't bother too much to look at the book because I have always figured that since I am one of those cool kids at the lunch table, I know the meanings. I have a good understanding. I have so many years of experience. I have a good understanding of a lot of the meanings of the deck. But I have to tell you, it's really a disservice to not look and see what the author wrote about the cards. They put a lot of effort into it. And yes, even old dogs can learn new tricks. I'm a crone, but I can learn something new. I'm not ashamed to admit that, and you shouldn't be either. Now, I did have a criteria. I used to have criteria. The only criteria I had about decks, some were odd, some were big, I'm a moon child, you know that. I'm a triple Cancer. The moon is very, very important to me. I work with the moon all the time. So I like to see the moon in the tarot deck. When I'm looking for new decks, I look at the moon. Okay? And some decks don't have it at all, which I don't know what they're smoking. That's kind of stupid. But anyway, this is the tarot of the, what is this? The tarot of the animal lords. I don't use this a lot, but I'll talk about it in a minute what I found out. It taught me a great lesson. Here's the crescent moon in here. It's like a nod. Okay, here's a nod. Because it's not the focus point. It's not prominent on the card. So it kind of makes me a little mad. Like, why does this little, what? It's a cat. Why does this cat get to be more important than the moon on the card? I don't know. Who is this cat anyway? Not sure. But because I like to see the moon. I like to see it. Here we have it. This is the Druid craft. It's there. It's not prominent, but it's there. This is sort of a nod to the Rider-Waite version. But at least it's there. The clouds are opening and showcasing the moon in a way, which I kind of like. That's sort of nice. But, and of course, we would not be disappointed from the Deviant Moon. Of course, they have it. This is, I love the moon. It doesn't have to have a face. But there's no doubt this is a moon card. And I really like to see that. Okay. So I do have some criteria, a little bit, about cards that I thought, that was going to get me through it. I'm going to have these little rules. And as long as the deck gave me what I needed, I would accept it. Another card that I always looked at was the Tower card. And this is generally what we think about when we Tower card. We have here is on a mountain, there's a tower built on this rock, okay, um, seemingly very secure and very, stable. But when the lightning strikes it, the people are falling. And what I liked about this kind of a tower card is we can't see what's happening. We don't know the outcome of this. Yet something bad happened, but we don't know. Like maybe there's some rescue boats down here that are going to fish them out of the water and they're going to be okay. We don't know. Where we have something like here in the Deviant Moon, not such good news. This is what I don't like so much about tower cards, because here you see the outcome. This poor schmuck doesn't look like he's going to make it, does it? So, this is maybe not my favorite, but let's face it, this is the Deviant Moon, and this is really deviant and dark. So we would expect that. We wouldn't expect a happy moon face like we see in here. Okay, so I get that. All right. I was really surprised, and I talked about this in another video, because I thought that's what I thought of the tower card all the time, until I came to this animal. I keep forgetting it because I don't use this deck really. One of the reasons I don't use the deck is it's one of those decks that are animals. It's like people bodies with animal heads. Like, really? Really? Why does he have to have hands and feet like people and then wings and a beak like a bird? I don't get that. I just don't get it. Sometimes it's kind of, here's like, what is this, dolphins with feet doing a little jig with dolphin heads. Like, that's kind of odd. That's kind of odd. Is that odd? I think it's odd. But anyway, it's kind of interesting in an odd way, and very disturbing in another kind of a way. Very disturbing in another kind of a way. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is what I found out when I was looking through these cards, and I came across the tower card in this deck. And look at the tower card. There's no tree. There's no tree he's falling from. There's no cliff or mountain or whatever he's falling from. It's a beaver. And his little dam, it's a little beaver boy, I guess. His little boy pants and little boy feet, I don't know. His little dam has been destroyed by the water or by something. I don't know. And so it's all collapsed, and there he is swimming away. And so he's going to have no dam, so he has to, but you see, he has hope. He's swimming away. Beavers can swim. He's swimming away, and he's going to be able to rebuild a dam, just he can't have the dam he had. He's got to start with a new dam. That's a really nice, insightful meaning for the tower card. It's not the end of all time. It is something big happening, but you're going to recover in a way. There's going to be a recovery after it some way. Maybe you can't go back to the way it was, but you're going to go somewhere, okay? So I really like that a lot. Treasure these books, especially the good ones. Even if they accompany a deck that you're not crazy about, don't want to read, take the time to read the book, because it's going to give you a little more understanding about the meaning of each card. Another opinion, another little bit of another insight from another person, which is very valuable to your reading. Allow your mind to be open. Allow your mind to be open. Do not close it thinking, I have learned everything I need to know about what these cards mean. Because you don't. I'm telling you, you don't. Okay? Slow down. Read the book. Compare the same card from one deck, and how it is portrayed in another deck. That's very valuable to deepen your understanding of tarot. Take the opportunity to journal about your readings if you have time, particularly an insightful reading or reading you don't quite understand now, because you might find out what it means later. You might be able to look at that reading later, what you journal about that reading, and all of a sudden it will become clearer in the future. That's a very handy tool to have. Change your mind about tarot. Change your mind about tarot. I've recently just received 3 new tarot decks. Maybe not quite recently. I think they came at the holiday. 2 of them at least came at the holiday. Maybe a little later. But anyway, I'm so anxious to read them. They're not new to everybody, but they're new to me. I have the Tarot of the Abyss. I have Avalon Cameron's Bone Stone and Earth Flesh. And I have another one which is very new to me, the Dream Keeper's Tarot, which I'm very, very curious about that. This is, I came upon this by accident. I'm real excited to read it. But the fact is, I'm not going to read them yet because you know why? First, I'm going to read the book. First, I'm going to read the book. First, I'm going to read the book. I'm going to read the book. Thank you so much for watching. I am Rebecca, and I wish you blessings.